and decorating Wicked for Good in Minecraft. Featuring Glinda's pretty and pink dream room, Elphaba's secret hideaway, characters from the movie, and a ton of spoilers. So grab your pink and green popcorn, hit that subscribe button, and let's get wicked. I literally went to see Wicked for Good on the first day that it was in theaters. And obviously I'm gonna make a video about it, starting with Glinda the Good Witch. Like, are we just not supposed to talk about how insane her house was? It was literally all bubbles, pink and glittery. So in honor of that, I really want to make these windows look a little bit more like bubbles. And obviously this bubble needs to be pink. Ta-da! Okay, it's kind of a squished bubble, but it's really cute. Now, in between the two bubbles is where I want to put Glinda's vanity. And obviously we need to have a ton of mirrors. And maybe even a little place where she can put her crown. And some makeup, obviously. I wish I had like more of a royal chair for her, but pink is kind of the best I can do. But what I can do is make a super cute pink carpet. I also feel like with all of that hair tossing, she probably gets kind of tangled sometimes. I mean, I know if I was toss leg all the time, my hair would definitely tangle up. Now, a lot has happened since the last Wicked movie. Glinda now lives in Emerald City and is literally the Good Witch, even though she doesn't exactly know any magic. It's kind of giving furthering of the agenda to me. There's one thing that cannot be argued about, and that is that Glinda is fancy. So it's only appropriate she has a giant chandelier in her room, which I think I should put one over her bed as well, which I'll put right here, with the pink bedspread and then some pink bedside tables. Everyone in Emerald City loved Glinda. She was basically like their president. And then, as if they didn't love her enough, Madame Horrible announced that Fiyero and Glenda were getting married. The crowd went crazy. I, for one, have very strong opinions about that, but we'll get to that later. Another small detail I'm not sure you caught in the movie, but Glinda actually has ferrets and birds and stuff to help her get ready in the mornings. Wait, that actually sounds so adorable. Okay. Enough about Glinda. Let's see what our friend Elphie's been up to. In the last movie, Elphaba uncovers the truth, flies off on her broom, and disappears. The second movie reveals her earthy hideaway, which is what we're basing this room off of. On the bookshelf, I want to put a witch hat, but which hat? Okay, probably this one. Okay, before we decorate any further, I really need to get some ambiance going in here, which I'm gonna do with grass, dead bushes, some vines, and some glow lichen. And now for our desk, let's put a lamp, some stacks of books, and the most important book of all, the Grimoire. So in the actual movie, there were all kinds of little hangy plants and stuff in her hideaway. So I'm gonna incorporate some of these glowberries to kind of mimic that. I also think it's fitting to go ahead and put an enchantment table right in the center. I can pretend this is also the Grimoire. So I actually found this really awesome mod called Wizard Staff that's allowed me to have some super awesome witch clothes, which I think fit really well in this room. And now to fill in some of the extra spaces with things that I think would be in this room. In order to make this place feel like a real witchy hideout, I'm gonna add some basic witch things, like potions, cauldrons, more spell books, some more furniture, and even, Elphaba's broom! Now, the sad truth is Elphie didn't want to live in a secret hideout. The truth was she was being hunted, and she knew it. She had her own wanted posters scattered around her secret hideout. And to top it off, a couple more dead bushes. Elphaba, hurry, get in before someone sees you. Whoa, your broom was a lot bigger in the movie. Regardless, how are the animals? Did you save any? Wait, you did what to some brick workers? Freed the buffalo and beat the buns of the imprisoners? Whoa, Elphie, that is so tough. Okay, you need to be extra careful to make sure no one sees you. I have to go, but I'm gonna make sure to block the door in so no one can get in and find you. It's probably best that Elphie stays in her hideout for this next room because Fiyero and Glenda are getting married. I feel like it's only fitting that the aisle is a yellow brick road. When Madame Horrible announced that Glenda and Fiyero were getting married, I was like, what? I thought he was secretly crushing on Elphaba. So honestly, it broke my heart a little bit. But I am a sucker for a beautiful wedding. And this wedding was definitely beautiful. Everyone who was anyone was there. Basically, everyone from Emerald City. There were gorgeous flowers everywhere. Everyone was smiling and in a good mood. And Glenda looked beautiful. Officiating the wedding, unfortunately, was Madame Horrible. And then we have Fiyero and Glenda. They both looked so happy to be there. Everything was perfect and nothing could go wrong. To make this wedding really stand out, I'm gonna add some chandeliers down the path. And I think adding a spore blossom right above where they're getting married is gonna really create a good ambiance. So I know like Fiyero's in a love triangle with Elphaba and Glenda, but wouldn't this picture just overall look better if it was like this instead? Get it? Like if I married him? I'm just kidding, I'm Team Elphaba all the way. Everything was so nice and beautiful at the wedding. Until it wasn't. And that's what this next room will be featured around. Elphie Elphie discovered that underneath where Glenda and Fiyero were supposed to be getting married, there were tons of animals in cages. Not cool. So I'm gonna make this living room themed after the trapped animals. This couch was literally made for Elphaba. It's her exact coloring. I'll go ahead and throw down a moss carpet. And now to accessorize with all things Elphaba, like some bookshelves to hold all of her spell books. And then right over here on this wall, she has a framed picture of Fiyero, because we all know that's who she's crushing on. Now, originally Elphaba didn't know Fiyero and Glenda were getting married. The only reason she knew is because Buck mentioned it whenever Elphaba went to the east to see her sister, Nessa Rose, otherwise known as the Wicked Witch of the East. Nessa was like horrible. She was a mega tyrant who wouldn't let animals travel, or munchkins. She basically turned poor old Bach into her servant, which really is extra sad because they were so cute together in the first movie. She was so young and so full of life. But first, let's make it wheelchair accessible. And Nessa's actually referred to as the Wicked Witch of the East. So appropriately, I'm gonna make this room extra wicked. To spy on the people of Munchkinland, I bet she has a telescope. Nessa Rose inherited a lot of her bitterness that made her the Wicked Witch of the East. Elphie went to visit her and she was mad at Elphie for not helping her all those years, and she said she wants her help now. And to appropriately represent that, I'm gonna add some crimson elements to her office. What happened next is still a blur. Elphie cast a spell on Nessa to help her be able to float. Nessa got mad at Bach for still being in love with Glinda, and cast a spell that made his heart shrink. Elphie cast a spell to save Bach's life by casting a spell that turned him into the Tin Man. When I tell you, I literally freaked out. I did not know that was part of the story. It broke my heart. And in case you thought it couldn't get any worse, well, remember how Elphaba broke out all of the animals? Yeah, they kind of stormed the wedding and caused like a massive stampede. It was all extremely chaotic and extremely bad. But the good news is that gave Fiyero an out to not have to marry Glenda. Fiyero! Oh my gosh, are you looking for Elphaba? I think she went this way. Follow me. I think she went right out that door. If you follow the Yellow Brick Road, you'll probably find her. Obviously, I'm not gonna send him after Elphaba if he wants to trap her. You know, I remember when things weren't so complicated with Elphie and Glenda. Like when they were roommates at SHIZ University. I mean, don't get me wrong. They definitely did not like each other at first. But then they actually became best friends. So this room is gonna be kind of like their dorm at SHIZ. For Glenda's side, I think she would probably appreciate a pink bed. Ooh, and maybe a flower pot with a little tulip. Now, she is definitely a pretty and pink girl, so the pinkest lamp I could find is the one I'm gonna use. Now, I don't really have a ton of room to work with, but as long as I have enough room for some makeup and some nail polish and other girly stuff, I'll be just fine. Now, let's sprinkle in a little bit more pink by adding some carpet. And now to add something really cool I found. This is from the very original Wizard of Oz book. It's Glenda. And now for Elphaba's side of the dorm. She's definitely into a darker, more gothic style. So I think she would like a black flower pot and a red tulip. Now for Elphaba's desk, I'm gonna add the hat that Glenda gave her. And her magic broom as a little bit of foreshadowing. And here's a picture of the Wicked Witch of the West from the original movie. Definitely not our girl Elphie's best look. This next room is based off one of my favorite scenes. It's when Elphie and Glenda go visit the wizard. Now this scene was extra fun because it was a giant Technicolor dance scene. The main elements I want to capture in this room is the rainbow, the dancing, and the big wizard face. This scene was so wild. It actually started when Elphie went to visit Glenda the night of her wedding. Then they both went to go see the wizard to try to convince him to turn himself in. But instead of turning himself in, a big dance scene broke out and they all three had a really majestic dance party. It's almost as if they were picturing what life could be if they were all friends. I will say, I am not about to attempt to build this giant wizard face with only Minecraft blocks. However, I will incorporate the little stringy things that were hanging down from the ceiling. I like to pretend it's his hair. And now that I've added some around the whole room, let's go ahead and add some fairy lights. Was I the only one getting major deja vu from the Oswald dance scene in the first movie? I love a full circle moment. And of course, it all went wrong thanks to Mr. Phony Wizard Man. I won't say too much right now, but at the end of the movie, he definitely loses that smile. In the very middle of the room, I want to add the pink swing they rode on during the scene. And here we'll put Elphaba, and on this side, Glenda. Wait, this is actually so cute. All in all, I think this is probably gonna be one of my favorite rooms. Wait, what the heck is going on? Elphaba just put her broom down. Wait, things are getting serious. Okay, hang on, let me clear out a little bit of space. Are they about to do what I think they're about to do? Oh my gosh! Glinda is breakdancing. Are you serious right now? Is this a dance battle? Oh my gosh, Elphaba, she's got what? Wait, I don't actually know what dance this is. I know Glinda is absolutely shredding it. Elphaba, you're gonna have to do something better than that to beat this. Oh! Is Elphaba doing the Rasputin? Oh my goodness. Wait, what in the world? This is what the onlookers at the Oz Ball must have been thinking when they pulled out this move. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. What the heck is this, you guys? Oh my gosh. Who put you up to that? Who put you up to that? I really do love the pink and green colors together, especially the actual movie art. Also, since there are like 100,000 tulips in the movie, I've decided to plant some in my hallways. Now, unfortunately, all the animals wanted to leave Oz, and I can't really blame them. So the animals actually dug up the yellow brick road in order to escape. So I'll use some of these mini cubes to look like bricks. Now, let's make this place look a little bit more like the woods. Now, the animals weren't just leaving for no reason. They were getting put in cages, used as work animals, and worst of all, they were forgetting how to speak. I don't know about you guys, but if somebody was trapping me in a cage, I probably would want to leave too. Now, these weren't just any animals. Dulce Bear was one of them. Elphaba did her absolute best to convince them to stay. But then this guy came around and started telling everyone that Elphaba kidnapped him. Well, cubnapped. And we all know that's an absolute lie because all she was trying to do was rescue him from the cage. But that didn't stop him. Eventually, he got all of the animals to turn on Elphaba, and they all went into the hole anyways. And we also figured out Elphaba's the one who actually gave the monkeys wings, which didn't really make the animals trust her anymore. Right over here, we could put Elphaba and her broom, and now we could scatter around a bunch of different animals. It really wasn't looking good for Elfie. I actually wanted this next room to be kind of hidden. We don't ever see Fiyero's room, but I have to imagine it looks a little bit like this. Everyone knows Fiyero is so Mr. Dreamy and like a prince and all that, but he's also literally caught in the middle of a love triangle. On one hand, Glinda, upon first glance, is probably a better fit for Fiyero, but Elfie shows her heart by her love for the animals, and Fiyero totally falls in love with that. I have just enough space right here to put Fiero's bed, and I'm gonna make his headboard out of hay. For absolutely no reason other than I like the color. And now I'll go ahead and decorate Fiero's room with some royal stuff. You know, because he's like a prince and everything. Glinda got super mad at Elfie and Fiyero when she realized they had a thing for each other. She thought he had been cheating on her and her BFF betrayed her. Honestly, I might be a little mad too, but it wasn't like that at all. Fiyero and Elfie were always meant to be together. But in honor of our favorite love triangle, let's add some fairy lights. But it really ended up being okay because Glinda still had plenty of people depending on her. This next room was going to be based off of Munchkinland. But before we get to that, I want to expand the yellow brick road a little bit and add some more tulips. The Munchkins hate Elfie. They want to both burn her with fire and melt her with water. Basically, they just want to get rid of her. Besides, Munchkinland did need another witch. They already had their beloved Glenda the Good. She put a smile on like everyone's face in Munchkinland. Munchkinland was a beautiful place full of flowers and cutie little houses. Except they really hated Elphaba. They hated her so much that they wanted to light her on fire. And funny enough, this is exactly where the movie starts. And technically where it ends, where the Munchkins are throwing a festival in honor of killing Elphaba. Although they couldn't exactly make up their mind whether they wanted to burn her or pour water on her. So I'm gonna put a couple cauldrons around, fill them up with water, and put a couple water buckets everywhere. Unfortunately, not only were the Munchkins super overrun with propaganda, Glenda the Good Witch refused to do anything about it, which I can't say I blame her. She had to keep up appearances to be the face that people look to for reassurance. Since we're on the topic of Glinda, I haven't built her bubble yet, and since it's kind of massive, I feel like outdoors is the perfect place for it. So I'll go ahead and start by building the base of the bubble. And I know it's Minecraft, but I still don't want it to be too square. So I'm gonna make it as round as possible. And now I'll go ahead and seal myself in. So what do you guys think? Is this looking up like a bubble? Now we have to make sure to put Galinda's couch in here. And of course, her little bubble button that she can press and make the bubble pop. I don't guess I really expected that to work. And now for a couple more Glinda touches. A picture of her in her bubble and her magic wand. Wait, I just want to take a second to appreciate how perfectly proportioned the bubble is with her front porch. On a less bright note, Madame Horrible was getting really desperate to find Elphaba. So she did what any rational person would do. She made a giant tornado, basically destroying all of Munchkinland. So I felt it was only appropriate to, set the mood a little. I would get a natural disasters mod, but I really don't want to destroy my house. And to really set the proper storm mode, I'm gonna build some rain clouds. And right over here in this corner, I'm gonna put the upside down house that fell on Nessa Rose. I told you there'd be spoilers. So this house needs to be completely upside down as it literally got picked up by the tornado and fell right on top of Nessa Rose, obviously squishing her. And I also want to add a couple dead bushes around. and a couple more miscellaneous pieces of debris. And who's responsible for all of this, you might ask? Madam Horrible. She's the one that made this ginormous tornado that destroyed the village. And it even took the life of poor Nessarose. And I have created for you a visual demonstration. Wait, Nessa, stop moving your head. You're supposed to be dead. You can't hire good help these days. At the time, no one actually knew it was Madam Horrible that caused the storm. So that's when Glinda showed up. And took off Nessa's shoes and decided to give them to a random girl walking down the street. Yeah, the thought process there is a little flawed. So I can't say I blamed Elphaba when she showed up and was really mad that her sister's shoes were missing. And I'm not even kidding, like when I say fighting mad, she was literally fighting mad. There was a whole really funny scene where Glinda had her wand and was waving them around like nunchucks. And Elphaba did like this air backflip thing to avoid the attack. It was all very aggressive. Oh no, Elphaba's looking for her sister's shoes and she's gone. Oh no, she's probably mad. Look, they're fighting just like in the scene. Wait, they're causing so much. Oh no, they're tearing up guys, you're tearing up the room. So after it was all said and done, Elphaba headed out on her broom to hunt down Dorothy to get the shoes back. But the worst part is, before she had time to get away, the guards grabbed her because Glinda set her up. Or was it Madam Horrible that set her up? I can't remember. But then Fiyero rescued her. He basically sacrificed himself for her. It was so romantic. Except, I think they kind of like kill him for it. Or at least that's what Elphaba thinks. It's kind of a hard life for Elphaba right now. Her sister is dead, her man crush is dead, and her bestie is definitely not her bestie anymore. Poor Elphaba could use a happy ending. To start off Elfie's happy ending, I'm gonna create a tiny dream wedding for her and Fiyero, who, spoiler alert, is not actually dead. And the theme of their wedding is gonna be Wooded Wonderland, where they get to save all the animals they can and kiss as much as they want. Ew, I know. Gross. Now this place is starting to look like a wonderland. And now to include something that definitely 100% absolutely happens in the movie. It doesn't actually happen in the movie, I just wish it did. And now because I can't exactly bring myself to spoil it that badly for you guys, I'm gonna put a little Easter egg in here from the movie. Whew, hopefully that's subtle enough for you guys. Hopefully no one gets mad at me in the comments or anything. Hey, at this point the play has been out long enough. If you haven't seen it, you haven't seen it. There were some other good things that happened for Elphaba, like she finally found her goat friend again. Although unfortunately, he still couldn't talk. You play a bad noise right here. She also found a castle where her and her flying monkeys lived that she rescued from the cages at the wizard's house. Now, remember how I said Elphie was going after Dorothy to get the shoes back that her sister had on her feet when she died? Well, she found her and locked her up in the basement until she could get the shoes off. I mean, I don't blame her. That was like all she had left of her sister, even though they didn't really get along. And now for the scene that had me literally crying into my pink and green popcorn. I'll go ahead and stick Glinda in this closet, where these doors definitely have holes in them so you can see out of it. Elphie's standing here. Dorothy breaks out of her prison, grabs the nearest bucket of water, to where all that's left is her hat. So it's probably safe to say she's dead, right? Wrong! She's definitely not dead. It turns out her and Fiyero had a secret plan to fake her death. At the very end of the movie, we see Fiyero knocking on the trapdoor. She opens it and she's inside. And then they finally get to run away and be together. And Glinda finally gets the guts to punish Madam Horrible for all the bad things she did. And she kicks out the wizard. Now, one thing I wish we got a little more of is Dorothy and the gang. Obviously, we know how they all came to meet, but that's about it. I want this room to represent Dorothy and her crazy adventures. I mean, first of all, she was literally swept from her hometown in Kansas and taken to Oz via a tornado. That's like probably the most insane form of travel ever. Starting with Dorothy's bed, I'll put that right in the middle. And go ahead and surround it with yellow brick road. That's also what I'm gonna make her bed frame out of because I feel like it's so on brand. Which is so crazy because the only reason she knew to follow the yellow brick road is because she ran into Glinda the Good Witch. It's crazy how full circle it all comes. On either side of her bed, I'm gonna go ahead and put a bedside table, her dog Toto in the flesh, and her little basket. Now, Dorothy was told if she followed the yellow brick road, she would find Emerald City. So I'm gonna go ahead and build Emerald City in this corner. Or at least a small version of it. And why did she go to the Emerald City, you ask? Well, she wanted to go home to Kansas. And she thought the only way to do that was if the wizard granted her a wish. So off to Emerald City she went. And to really compliment Emerald City, some fairy lights. She definitely met some interesting figures along the way. First, she met a scarecrow, which is why I'm gonna turn this corner into a field of wheat. Oh, We'll hide some water behind here and then till the ground. When she came across the scarecrow, he also wanted to go visit the wizard because he wanted a brain. Knowing what I know now, I don't think I'll ever be able to look at the scarecrow the same way again. Another super interesting figure she met was the Tin Man. The Tin Man, which is why I'm dedicating this corner to a bunch of different medals. The Tin Man wanted to go see the wizard because he wanted a heart. And now, thanks to Wicked, we know why he doesn't have one. The last little creature that she met was probably one of the cutest. He was really scared, like afraid of his own shadow scared. So I'm gonna make sure to give him plenty of grass for cover. And that last friend was the Cowardly Lion. The bow and the hair always has cracked me up because okay, go off queen, that's so cute. Wicked for Good wouldn't even exist without the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, and her crew. And now we can really appreciate the classics like the original Elphaba, Glinda, and even the OG ruby red slippers. Plus, there are like a million Easter eggs in Wicked for Good from the actual Wizard of Oz. Wicked for Good is totally one of my very favorite movies. The only movie I think I like more is Zootopia 2. Comment below if you'd like to see a Zootopia 2 house. And if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe. Bye!